What up? It's Ninja Tips. Tis no surprise, my fellow Gears friends. I'm gonna help out with some more Gnasher tips that aid me in my Gnasher battles with the many dynamic scenarios that are always prone to happen on the Gears of War 4 multiplayer. What's on today's menu, you say? Well, today we're gonna mainly focus on these babies right here, with shot evasion being the first essential matter to discuss. When I'm not slaying, I'm evading. And since it's a third-person shooter, there's almost as much skill in aiming and shooting than there is in dodging and weaving. In other words, even the worst aim can be a valuable asset to the team. Now, one of the easiest ways to think about the Gnasher shot spread is the trajectory cone that's in the similar shape of this robot scanner. If you could picture that coming out of each character's belly, like a flashlight that they control the width of, then you can dodge their shots easier. The wide version represents the Gnasher shot spread at far distances, and the thinner straight line version represents really close-up battles. In the corner shot scenario, for example, it's expected at this point for my opponent to wall bounce and shoot to kill me coming out of that wall bounce, supposedly. But if I remember correctly, the shot trajectory can be dodged simply with a few steps of my character moving towards the 5 o'clock direction, away from the Gnasher trajectory. Even blindly can one avoid a complete thin trajectory of the Gnasher at point blank range using footsteps as the cue and moving a few steps at the 5 o'clock direction. Here's another example of keeping an ear open, this time at my 7 o'clock. I heard the COG guy say something, probably from active reloading, going for the 45 to 45 angle attack approach. Another paramount tip to winning Gnasher battles is something I like to call double commands, which is lining up 2 or 3 events at a time. The first 2 commands are inputted in my controller, and the third command is on standby in my head. The first event being an attack, the second event being a defensive maneuver, and the third event being a complete tactical retreat and repositioning of my character. At the first command to attack, it helps me to swiftly tap the left thumbstick in either the 3, 6, or 9 o'clock direction simultaneously with the RT for better shot precision. Then pretty much immediately inputting the second command, the defensive maneuver, which is the movement to move away from the opponent's next probable shot location. At this point, this is where one's skillful movement techniques come into play, such as the side dash, and then there's that evasive maneuver called the wall rush, or a strafe maneuver to utilize as a second command input. That scenario, I chose to do a little side bounce to the left to avoid the shot that was coming directly at me. At other times, it could be a backwards roll, a backwards roadie run from cover, which is essential for bluffing and buying some distance for the next Gnasher shot. Here's that same evading technique, just on a different map. A backwards roadie run from no cover, a 180 fake out shot from, or even a side bounce, which are all options for anyone depending on the choices for cover and personal strategic choices being offered at the time. The only way fast maneuvers like the pop shot and the slap shot work is because the user's fast double input commands with the thumbsticks and buttons. Barrier battles. There are 2 things that aid me here. First, taking a note of who sets in the position of the barrier first, since that individual will automatically get the chance to make the first shot and the most effective shot of the other. Second, I also find it helpful to picture a large letter V over my character and move my character to place my target at the tips of the V. I like to call them the death tips to safely kill my target. Barrier battles would require one guy or girl to make the first move, which means that person is risking the most, since it is easy to always get the upper hand with the first shot, making the other do what we call one shot. Going back to evasive maneuvers, I can't stress enough the significance of dodging and quickly firing in between the time your target presses that RT button. I mentioned it before on Gnasher Tips 4, the dodge shot. Well, it turns out there's more than one version, my friends. The dodge shot was about using it at arm's length distance with key timing and thinking outside the box, wasting no reaction time on the aiming and firing process when first identifying your target, but rather on immediately selecting an object near one's character, holding that left thumbstick pointed at that wall or object for about less than half a second, then tapping that A button to bounce to it. And again, what happens is one's enemy fires off a round in a place he thought his target was going to be at, or doesn't fire at all, which is pretty sweet. And I either go for the 45-degree angle, aka 2 o'clock area, or go for the left or right bounces, aka 3 or 9 o'clock, for the most part, to dodge those straight narrow Gnasher shot spreads at close quarters. Though there are rare occasions where dodging to the rear is necessary, but it only works if I keep my eyes on the prize and I don't look away from my opponents. Another great idea is to look out for the dead giveaways, meaning the shadows on the sunny maps, which help you ruin your adversary's ambushes. Here's another example where one would think the coast is clear, but it takes quick reaction and fast weapon switch-offs, meaning that my thumb would have to leave the A button and reach for that D-pad, then back to the A, while leaning that left thumbstick to the nearest wall very swiftly after that for that wild bounce switch out. I suppose it helps me to telegraph my character perpendicular to the point where I'm doing the weapon switch out, to make my adversary believe that I'm going to roll or ruddy run that way, since he won't tell that I got my left thumb pointed to the right while I was facing forward. Right here I faked going right, but I didn't. And if I'm facing this scenario, attacking a dude on the left, while he has a clear back A opportunity, well, I go for the 45 to 45 and just be quicker than him, shooting for at least a partial counter, but basically pressing that RT just inches before I actually hit the wall. Active reloads would only give me a higher rate of success. Special shout out and special thanks I'd like to give out to my bro OGC247, who's got great streams, a good heart, and a fiery passion for the game like I do. It's the Buster Jugglers for being a cool teammate and support of my gameplay. ESS Toady and ESS Monito for also being amazing peeps and players.